This chapter guides key functionalities related to the configuration management. The export section details the automatic generation of configuration files upon a commit, describing their location and the content of that configuration file. In the import section, compatibility with older anynode versions is discussed, suggesting version alignment. The process includes access checks, configuration and take control functions and enabling network controller mapping. The documentation also underscores the clean function for a fresh start and the revert function to reset configurations, safeguarding against accidental deletions or faults. Export. Configurations may be accidentally altered or fail to yield the desired results. In such situations, anynode provides an extremely useful feature that allows you to restore a previous configuration at any point, even if you haven't explicitly backed up a configuration before. Every time you commit the configuration by clicking on Commit, anynode automatically generates a configuration file. These configuration files can be found in the folder c:\programdata\te-systems\anynode frontend\backup\anynode. The file name always includes the anynode version number and the date and time. The automatically generated configuration file is identical to the file generated through the export function. It's important to note that the automatically created configuration file and the configuration export include only the configuration itself. It does not encompass license data, monitor mode settings, call history data, certificate issuance provider details, or user management data. The configuration exports an automatically created configuration file saves everything present in the left menu below configuration. Features in the upper menu under extras, such as user management, monitor settings, or certificate issuance provider, are not included in the export. For a complete backup, utilize the backup and restore function. Instructions on importing the automatically created backup of the configuration can be found in the import section. You can also manually generate this automatically created configuration backup for export anytime. This file is identical to the automatically generated backup. Navigate to Configuration in the top menu and click on Export. The configuration file will be immediately placed in the Windows Download folder. Import. Essentially, anynode's configuration import function is compatible with files generated by older anynode versions. If you intend to use a configuration file on an older version of anynode, we strongly recommend updating that anynode version to at least the level at which you saved the configuration file. While you can import the node structure, essential new features such as support for certificate issuance providers, Zoom Phone, or Microsoft Teams direct routing may not be available. Some functionality will be significantly limited in this case. To import an anynode configuration, you should first check if you have write access. If not, click on Configuration and take control in the upper menu. Navigate to Configuration in the upper menu and choose Import. Do not use the Configuration Backup Restoration Assistant via Restore. Click on the Choose File button and load your configuration file. Enabling network controller mapping ensures a smooth transition when importing configurations between different environments or hardware. It helps adapt the saved configuration to the specific network setup of the current SBC. We recommend choosing the default value with enabled network controller mapping. If you are using the same hardware on which you saved and exported the configuration, green checkmarks on the left menu indicate that no further actions are required here. If the configuration file was generated on different hardware, adjust the network controller for each node in the following steps. In our example, we are using the same hardware and do not need to adjust the network controller. You can click the Finish button now. Utilize the commit function to permanently apply the imported configuration. Clean. Occasionally, there may be a need to start from scratch with a configuration in the anynode frontend. To avoid manually removing each node, you can use the clean function to remove all entries under configuration in the left menu tree. This feature is often used in a lab environment for testing purposes. The backend configuration will stay in place while the node configuration will be removed. The deletion essentially encompasses the following: routing domains, nodes, routing forward profiles, authentication profiles, directories, load balancers, conditions, hot standbys. The backend connectors within a hot standby system will not be deleted. Time ranges, auxiliary objects. All settings outside of this menu area will be retained when using the clean function. This includes trace settings, licenses, network interfaces, user management, web server settings and connectors, backend connectors and instances, Microsoft Teams SBA, SMTP clients, event transport, system administration settings and maintenance mode, proxy server settings, certificate issuance provider, preferences and personal settings. The clean function is easy to locate. Navigate to configuration in the top menu and click on clean. Subsequently, all the entries and configurations described above will be removed. For final deletion, confirm with the commit function. Revert. The revert function allows the configuration to be reset to the point where the commit was last pressed. In practice, this is useful if you realize it is largely faulty during a configuration and want to return to the last working configuration. Once you commit after a clean, reverting is no longer possible. Even in the case of accidentally using the clean function, you can prevent the deletion by using revert if you haven't clicked on commit yet. The revert function is easy to locate. Navigate to configuration in the top menu and click on revert. Subsequently, all deleted configurations described in the clean chapter will be restored. Reconfirming the commit function is not necessary.